Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Count, here with a brand new Pokemon Go discussion video. Today I wanted to talk about the idea of Niantic taking a break from having in-game events in Pokemon Go. Now, this is something that I've been thinking about for quite a while now, mainly because when it comes to all of the in-game events, I really feel like they've been hampering some of my in-game experiences, as well as me feeling a little bit of event fatigue. I do think there's a lot of things that Niantic could try out instead of the current model of events, and I really do think that when it comes to Pokemon Go, the community has been wanting something different, and I do think that 2022 is a prime opportunity for Niantic to try out new things. That's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video, so let's roll the intro and jump right into it. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about two things in particular. For one, I'm going to be talking about why I think Niantic should take a break from having in-game events in Pokemon Go, and I'm also going to be talking about how Niantic could restructure in-game events so that they are a lot more interesting and they can keep the game consistently relevant. I do think that when it comes to Pokemon Go's current gameplay structure, it's been very repetitive and there really hasn't been too much excitement when it comes to its gameplay. I mean, Niantic hasn't done a lot of drastic changes to the gameplay, and for longtime players like myself, that has created a lot of fatigue when it comes to playing this game, and I think it goes without saying that players have been wanting something new and fresh when it comes to Pokemon Go for a very long time. So if the discussion is around how Niantic could freshen up Pokemon Go and make it more interesting, why would I suggest them taking a break from in-game events? Well, my main suggestion is more about them reducing the amount of in-game events and having them last a little bit longer. Now, I really do think this coincides with the second thing that I wanted to talk about in this video, in that I really do think that when it comes to in-game events, they need a total restructuring in how they play out in the game itself. Because if you think about every in-game event we've had so far, they completely take over all of the wild spawns, and you're pretty much only locked into the event-specific spawns and the event-specific bonuses. And sure, sometimes these event spawns are pretty hype, but in general, it's kind of frustrating if you're looking to complete your Pokedex and you're looking for very specific Pokemon that you will have to wait until the event ends, and very shortly after that event ends, there's typically another event that's lined up. What I'm suggesting here is that they kind of go back to their roots, like back in the day when Pokemon Go first came out. Because back then, we really only had 3 or 4 very staple events, like they were the Valentine's Day event and the Halloween event, as well as the Christmas event, and I think they had a couple of other events here and there, but it was very sporadic and it was something that you could look forward to. That way, the event spawns just does not completely dominate all of the wild spawns. I think this has created a problem with the feedback loop of Pokemon Go, in that a lot of players are just waiting out for very specific events and they're not going to be interested in Pokemon Go during the events that they do not care about. I really think this is a really bad way to design Pokemon Go, and I think the best solution to it is to cut back on all of these in-game events and just design the core gameplay to match all of the things that you would get from these events, and that would be a much better experience for Pokemon Go players. I think one of the things that made Pokemon Go so popular back in the day is that you would have a whole bunch of different rare spawns, and it would be really exciting to get those particular spawns. And of course, nowadays, all you really have to do is wait for the corresponding event of that rare spawn. Like, for example, if you're looking for a Chansey or a Lapras, all you really have to do is wait till those corresponding events where you would typically see a whole bunch of these spawning. It's not really that fun to play the game this way. Like, it would be really exciting if you were to come across a Chansey or a Lapras in the wild, because you know that coming across any of these Pokemon is going to be an extremely rare occurrence. Pokemon Go really hasn't felt that for a while, and I think it's because there's just constantly so many events every month, and it's something that really doesn't feel that engaging, unless of course that event has something that is going to be relevant for raids or PvP. Now, I think this kind of leads me to the second thing I wanted to talk about in this video, in that when it comes to all of the in-game events that they would have, I think they need to restructure them to be a lot more fun and a lot more engaging. For example, this past Valentine's Day event had a global challenge attached to it, and it was kind of a small one, and a lot of players tended to ignore it, but it did unlock a very powerful bonus, and I think having something like this with every single event would go a long way. The way that I would structure it is that every single in-game event would have some sort of global challenge. That way players are engaged and they have something to work towards, because as of right now, if there is nothing like that attached to any event, then that particular event will be quite boring if there's not any spawns that players will care about. That was kind of reminiscent of the power plant event. When that event was happening, I really did not feel compelled to play Pokemon Go because the bonuses were not necessarily something that I cared about, and when it came to the Pokemon spawns, there really wasn't anything that I was so focused on getting. But I do have to recognize that Pokemon Go is very different from what it was back in 2017 and 2016. And I know back then, the game had a lot of different problems and issues that Niantic has addressed over time, but I really feel like when it comes to the core gameplay of Pokemon Go right now, because it's so heavily reliant on having in-game events, it's created a lot of fatigue, and I think players are starting to get fed up. So now is the time for Niantic to try out new things. And I don't think it's going to hurt Niantic or Pokemon Go if they were to try out new event formats or add a little bit of spice to events to keep them a little bit more interesting. To kind of give you a vision of Pokemon Go that I think would be the most ideal situation would be to have only one in-game event every month and for it to last about 2 weeks. And during those events, there's just a lot of bonuses that you can unlock through global challenges, and there's a catch challenge and different things like that. Something that would keep players engaged, but at the same time, it's not something that would become redundant if you were to continuously play through that event. And I do think that when it comes to event spawns, I think they need to be more finely tuned, because I absolutely dislike the fact that they completely take over the regular wild spawns. I mean, of course, it's nice to have a little bit of diversity every so often, but instead of having just constant in-game events, maybe Niantic could have a regular shakeup of the wild spawns so that the game feels more interesting and feels continuously updated. Rather than having a whole bunch of in-game events, maybe they could introduce a brand new Pokemon through a wild spawn shakeup or something like that. I really think this is a better model that they could use moving forward. Like every month, have different spawns in the wild that you can go after. Now I know some players will say that's pretty much what the in-game events are kind of right now, but I just feel like it would be a lot less convoluted and it would be a little bit more simplified and streamlined, and it's going to be a better experience if they were to try that out. But in any case, yeah, these are just some of my thoughts regarding in-game events. I really do think this is the beginning of a very strong conversation, especially because Pokemon Go is kind of in a crossroads with 2022. I really feel like this is the year that Niantic has to make some big decisions and some big changes to Pokemon Go in order to create a game that has longevity, because Pokemon Go could die out within the next couple of years if Niantic keeps the game the same as it currently is. But if Niantic were to switch it up and make the game a completely different experience, then I do think that the game will be more interesting and it will have legs to last even a decade. But yeah, I'm just being really hopeful here, but I would love to know your thoughts regarding in-game events down below. What are your thoughts on how Niantic could make it more interesting? Definitely share those thoughts down below in the comment section and let's have a great discussion. That's gonna be it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.